Hey there, I had a question from Coach about communication, things to get people to action. The coach says, I don't think others see me as I see myself. I consider myself understanding and sensitive, but I definitely don't come across that way. I feel like I'm rigid. How do you deal with negativity? Seems like you dodge it and get it away. My workplace is full of it, but I do just close the door. That's a long one for sure. We do cover, a couple of the paths to resolving some of those issues in our life coaching courses for coaches, as well as, would be very applicable just for other people as well, just in terms of communication and proper communication between folks. But your question, how do I deal with negativity? I can give you a little bit of a story or history in terms of how I used to deal with it previously. Whether it's from learning and growing up or just the way things have happened for my life and the way it's rolled out. I used to kind of move away from negativity, or actually not even feel like it was there, or try to push it away basically, or hide from it, I guess would be a better term for it. And I think my clients, as well as other people around me, would make assumptions too. I would give off that sense that negativity just wasn't, allowed. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because sometimes the underlying message of negativity is a lack of communication, or someone is looking for a bit of empathy, or even just some help in terms of counseling. So by me pushing away and not wanting it, it never really was a good thing, no matter where it used to come from. By pushing it away, it used to just build up, and then it used to come to a grinding halt and a corner at one point, which generally didn't turn into things too good. So I would say for the coach who's mentioning that, a couple things you want to consider is getting some feedback from some people who are open-ended and are not clients of yours, in terms of your communication and how to improve that more effectively. In our life coaching course, we do go through that intensely for the first day, and it's quite uncomfortable for individuals, because we have one person coaching another person, and then we have a person on the outside looking in on that couple, and they give them feedback of the receiver and the presenter, as well as how the communication was given back and forth. So the perception in terms of what you could be giving across is obviously different. Another side note of something that myself and Bernie as well have been playing with for a little while here now are these kind of emotions that are hidden or underlying, that we as a person are not aware of, that we give off. So one thing you may want to do is to ask your partner or your friends what kind of feelings or emotions you're giving off, or what they're sensing from you at any given time, as just a practice. The good thing around that is that, number one, you get to get feedback from people in terms of what's happening with your emotions at that time. You have to be prepared for that. So if you're going to ask them for that help, be prepared for it. Secondly, you may start to realize that some of the things you're giving off in terms of emotions or feelings are not necessarily how they're being received by those other people. Now, if it's more than one person, then there's some learning to take part in that. If it's just one person, then obviously there could be some changes in relation to the relationship between the two people. But if it's more than one person and they're saying the same thing, then I would listen to that in terms of how you're going to get that across to your client. Now, if it was just on your own, you may say, well, who really cares in terms of what people think? I know what I think in terms of my emotions and my feelings. But if you're a professional and you want to be a coach, you have to basically be a chameleon to everyone's emotions and be able to be at their level in order to give, in order to educate, and in order to be empathetic to them towards making change, no matter if that's in a physical setting or an emotional setting. So roundabout, how do I deal with negativity? That path that I had chosen, as I said, I used to push it away. But then over time, I started realizing and using one key term that really resonates within my office, and I think it certainly helps people, is that when they come into my office, I give off this sense or the feeling that everyone has some good in them. And as a coach, if you can forelay that into your business, you'll start seeing that clients become attracted to you relative to you being open to any situation that they're going to put in front of you. Whether that changes every few weeks or every week or every day or every few months when they come back, that's fine. They always know that they'll be in open arms. Now, that's not to say that it turns into an emotional match back and forth every session, but what it does allow is open communication. And then when you get to that resonating level of open communication, then as a coach you can say, you know what, I feel that you're being negative today. Obviously there's different terms and points where you can use that, but you can get that across because there is an open communication on that part. They may not perceive that they are being that way. So then it creates an awareness between you and the client, and then you being above looking at the situation. So you start to notice you're noticing, which is a key awareness in order to create change long term. So that's one thing that I would do, is have that kind of background idea in my head that everyone has good in them, no matter what the situation. And that presents then a positive outlook in terms of the consultation. The people that you're going to get and attract to you are based upon that, and they're going to be retained because they know that no matter what the thing is, that they have this opportunity to be open in communication for that. And I would take into consideration, obviously, what I was saying in terms of what you're resonating for your group, and maybe ask within that group if it's possible to even have a team session about these whispers or these emotions that are underlying that look like they're being passed across, but they're not. Because I remember years ago people would say, it looks like you're so intense, but then when we sit down and talk in your office, it's not intense, it's empathy and understanding and honesty. So I was giving that across, so I have to ensure that when I meet people, I want to create a really good understanding that they see, no matter what it takes right from the get-go, that there will be an opportunity for an open communication process to happen. And I think from that, it doesn't allow negativity. So it's very easy to say, just don't allow it in your office or in your practice and it won't happen. That's not reality, because people will come in with negativity and want to waste your time. In reality, that's what it is, but it could be an opportunity for a learning for both people on that side. Number one, you won't get attached to the situation. You'll understand that there is some negative feelings or vibes coming from it, but you're not going to create any attachment to it. All you're going to do is to say, hey, yeah, it's there, but if there's an open communication process, it can be resolved, and then it makes the whole job a whole much easier. It's like that. It's like in any relationship where there's that elephant in the room that no one discusses for 15 years, and then that thing just, trashes the house down after that period of time. It's something that even with someone who you just met, or even with coworkers within an office setting, the elephant in the room has to be quashed. And that could be you, the person who has to make the first adjustment in order to change that. And I think that it's been, close to, I guess, since we've had like an office or a group setting, it's been over 6-7 years that we've had that, and each year it's without me like having a meeting every Friday to discuss that or talk about it, it's well understood. It's well understood on the blog, within our business, in our facility, that just there's no place for negativity, and it's not well received, and it's more of if negativity does come up, the question then is and it's within OPT is, well, what do you plan on doing about that? So complaining, talking about other people behind their back, other things that are within social communication, well accepted in other areas, are not accepted within our business, and it's based upon us trying to create that honesty and openness, so that it's just basically not accepted, and then that gets spread within the office setting, and it can just improve based upon that. If there's an opportunity that you have that you can start with one person within the office setting, that may be a good starting point, and then build from there. I hope that helps a little bit. If there's any more questions that come from that, or even examples that I'd given that you want me to open up on, I'd be more than happy to do that. And maybe we'll do a little follow-up for this in terms of my learning, like educational learning, that may have helped in those processes. Thanks.